Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. Joining me here on a Super Bowl Monday, Jason Cameron. We're going to break down the game, lots of other stuff going on. But, I was pretty amazed when I saw today that this Super Bowl had the most ever viewership. They were able to somehow count the streams and 126 million viewers watched. I think a high of about 134 million at some point during the game. Even though it was a blowout, absolutely incredible performance by the Philadelphia Eagles, dethroning the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. Tough game, hard to watch because it was just absolutely one-sided. But you have to be impressed with what the Eagles have been able to do. 2 years later, after losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, come around and blow out this really, really solid, great team.
You know what? I felt what happened to the Chiefs is that it's like their luck finally ran out on them.
Yeah.
Where they had all of this going their way, felt like a team of destiny. And then finally, for that one game where they didn't need it to fall apart, it did.
Yeah.
But granted, it was all predicated upon the front 4 or 5 of the defense for Philly's defense.
Yeah.
They kept them in check. They pressured them. They didn't even blitz them.
No.
Those guys just did their job and they did their work well.
Yeah.
And Mahomes was just at their mercy because unfortunately his offensive line wasn't up to the task.
I heard this amazing stat that out of the 59 Super Bowls, there's been 6 teams that never blitzed, and they all have won. So that's a recipe, I guess.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio said, "Okay, I guess we won't blitz them, and we'll be able to beat them." And sure enough, they still got amazing amount of pressure all over Mahomes. They pressured him 25 times. They hit him 11 times. They sacked him 6 times. They got 3 takeaways. That defense, I kept thinking, because Saquon didn't have like one of his really high, amazing games, Hurts played great. Of course, he deserved the MVP, but I thought, man, could you give it to the defense? Could you give it to somebody on defense? Because, man, that was really what just made this a pretty competitive game to just a complete blowout. And there was, it was 24-0 at half. It was 34-0 at some point. The actual final score flatters the Chiefs a lot because it wasn't even a 40-22 game. This was a complete blowout. The Eagles were able to rest Hurts. They were able to pull in a lot of the other guys to play in the game. Or it could have got even worse. It could have been, 50, 60, 70 points.
Yeah, like it was more like a 40-6 kind of game.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. Because those other points were just kind of gifted to the Chiefs. Yeah. And I believe there was the other stat was the Chiefs didn't cross halfway point through on the field till the third quarter.
Yeah.
Till the third quarter. Like that's just like, oh, you shut down that offense real nice.
Yeah, the offense of the Chiefs, I think they had 23 yards at the half. They had 1 first down. They were just completely shut down. It was an amazing, amazing display. And every team that has gone into the Super Bowl with the #1 defense and the #1 rushing offense has all won also every Super Bowl. So recipe for success. These Eagles were able to figure it out. I want to give credit to tons and tons and tons of these guys, but Howie Roseman really blows me away with what he has done. The general manager of the Eagles has been able to really assemble this juggernaut. And I think they realistically could be the next dynasty, the way that this team is assembled. What he did with that Carson Wentz trade a few years ago has just absolutely stalked this team. He's been able to get free agents like Saquon Barkley, make amazing trades like that Carson trade. Incredible drafting. I'm going to go over the draft history in a few minutes, but holy cow, they have just assembled this team where I said it last week. On paper, this team should beat anybody. They have the best team on defense, the best team on offense. why do the Chiefs even think they can win this game? But then you said Mahomes and Reed and what they've done in our history. And so, you thought, okay. And the odds makers gave it to the Chiefs. It was a 1.5 point spread. A lot of people were picking the Chiefs on the pundits, but when you really looked at it and dissected the two teams, it wasn't even close when you saw the absolute talent on both sides of the ball.
And I said it right away. I said by far and away the Eagles are the more talented squad, for sure. But it's like that Mahomes factor that's always been there. Yeah. And then what they did with the Mahomes factor was they shut it down.
Yeah,
you're not going to be a factor in this particular game. You take him away, then all of a sudden there was just nothing. No. There was literally nothing. No. And I think now the Chiefs need to really address. They need like a receiving core. Like this patchwork of what they were doing, it's not going to work anymore, man. It's not good enough.
That's true. Yeah. Let's get to that in a few minutes, but there's a lot. I don't know. I wish I actually made a list on who I'm happiest for, but there's many people in that organization that I'm happy for. Just before we press record on this, you said you're most happy for Saquon. Tell me why.
I'm just happy for him because he got out of that cesspool called the New York Giants. Yeah. They didn't realize what they had until they let him go.
Yeah.
And then what they saw is like, this is what happens when you take an amazing athlete, future Hall of Famer, I'm going to say that right now, and you put him around with other talented people, with it. They get a real talented offense, best offensive line in probably football besides maybe the Detroit Lions. This is what you get. 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And then you get to the playoffs, you get to the Super Bowl, you win the Super Bowl. That's what you get. And that's what they lost. Like, I'm just so happy that happened for them. And I'm hoping that this resets the running back market, because guess what? They are important. You need a good running back.
Oh, yeah. He changed the narrative big time. Him and a few other guys, but he completely changed it. He should hold the all-time NFL record for single-season rushing yards in a regular season. But he did get the all-time mark for rushing yards in the postseason and regular season combined. Beat Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis had those fantastic years, 97, 98, where he got 2,400 yards plus. Saquon was able to come into this game, surpass that, have the greatest single season rushing attack, playoffs and regular season combined. And yeah, I really wish he would have played that game 18. He would have the record for the regular season, have the record for regular season and the playoffs, and be able to just throw it down, say, no way, no how, nobody else holds that record except me. That's the only kind of blemish, I think, in that. But everybody's going to say, oh, well, that's why he, was able to get all those great yardage in the playoffs because he rested 18. Well, I don't think so. But anyway, great. Yeah, I feel really, really happy for him. Seeing those hard knocks and knowing how they had the conversations about keeping him or not keeping him. I'm amazed at the stupidity that came out of that Giants organization and why they didn't. But great for Eagles fans like me. Happy that he came over and he just showed how incredible he was and how important running backs are. On the other side of the ball, the Chiefs didn't run the ball and they lost big time. They left it to Mahomes. Mahomes was getting pressured like crazy, was getting hit, was getting sacked. He couldn't complete passes. The picks were because the pressure was coming. Everything. Absolutely. They didn't have a balanced attack. And Kareem Hunt came in on his second stint with the Chiefs, and I was feeling really happy for him because he left just before they had these Super Bowl wins, and all of a sudden got brought off the scrap heap because they just couldn't find a guy, and they had some injuries. And I thought, okay, they're going to give him the ball. He's going to be able to really offset this offense. They're going to be able to, have a balanced attack. And they didn't even run the ball. They didn't run the ball at all. And it was kind of shocking to see Nick Sirianni, who's been called a big dumb dipshit and, a guy that should fire. And, everybody has been saying how brutal of a coach he is. And it seems like him and his amazing offensive and defensive coordinators, Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, came up with a game plan that beat those, heralded Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, the Mahomes Kelsey era. They seemed to outwit them, outsmart them, and outlast them. It was amazing.
Yeah, they out game planned them. And then the things that the adjustments they should have made at halftime for the Chiefs just didn't happen.
No,
like whatever they talked about, whatever they tried to do, that it just didn't happen. Yeah. And I think they literally just abandoned the running game immediately when they were behind so quickly. I think they just thought to themselves, we can't run the ball now because it's too late. Like we gotta just throw. And by throwing the ball though all the time, now the defense knows it's like, oh, they're just gonna throw all the time. Cool. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Exactly. Then we can just pin our ears back and go and see even more trouble. Yeah. I feel really happy for Jalen Hurts. He's taken a lot of abuse. Right after he threw the pick, somebody at the Super Bowl party I'm at, I won't name names, but somebody at the Super Bowl party I'm at just immediately said, oh, he's useless. He's the reason why they're going to lose. He can never do anything. He's absolutely horrible. What a piece of crap. And just on and on and on. I'm like, hold on a second here. Hold on a second. And I defended the hell out of him. And within about 15, 20 minutes, he started showing his magic and helping this team go to the victory. I feel really happy for him. And Devontae Smith, too. It's incredible to see two guys play on the same team, win a national championship in college, come to the NFL, become the first ever duo to win a national championship together in college and win a Super Bowl together. And Devontae Smith has had to take a back seat to A.J. Brown. Then he's had to take a little bit more of a back seat to Saquon Barkley. But, he was able to contribute with another great touchdown. Still stays in Philly and doesn't complain, doesn't bitch like others do. And this duo came together, won a championship. Really cool that their names are going to be forever in the record book together as the first and only duo to do that.
Yeah, no, and it was awesome to see. I'm just so happy for them that they were able to do that. And Devonta Smith, obviously a real teammate, where it's just like, yeah, sometimes you just got to sacrifice for the team. Yeah. AJ Brown, take notes. But anyway, so yeah, sometimes that has to be a thing. And he was willing to do that. And he got his touchdown too. So it was a team effort on both sides of the ball, but they destroyed the Chiefs. Like, I don't think anybody could have foresaw that happening to the Chiefs.
No. Also happy for Cooper DeJean. His birthday, same as Saquon's that day. First guy to ever score a touchdown on his birthday. And he did so with his first ever interception in the NFL. He had an incredible rookie of the year this year and was able to become he was in the running for rookie of the year voting and was able to turn it into a pick six and score on his birthday. Incredible, amazing to be able to, come into the NFL, be with the number one defense, contribute heavily all year, and finally get your first pick in the Super Bowl and score a touchdown. What a storybook story. And on his birthday to boot. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I love the fact that he walked into the Super Bowl game with his Letterman jacket on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
high school, yeah.
From high school. I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty dope. Another guy I want to give a shout out to is Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Right. Him and his dad.
Also another rookie. And then winning and then having his old man there. And I love the fact that he has the respect to say, I'm going to wear my father's old number 54. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, special. I'm glad you mentioned that. I definitely had him on as mentioned too. They jacked the trophy, got to take pictures with it, and they were both very beaming, ear to ear grins. And this is Trotter Sr. was a third-round pick, became one of the greatest linebackers the Eagles ever had, was a four-time Pro Bowler. Trotter Jr. ended up being a fifth-rounder and coming in and playing balls to the wall, lights out, had a fantastic year, and was able to very significantly contribute to the Super Bowl victory. His dad never got to taste the Super Bowl, but man, he seemed happy. They were on the field. I loved it that they jacked the trophy and they were looking around trying to make sure nobody was going to take it from them before they got all their pictures taken. It was a sweet scene.
Oh, it was fantastic scene. I love how his dad said, "No, we jacked it. We jacked it. We took it." That's awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordan Mailata. This guy hadn't even played a down of football 7 years ago. He was a rugby player. They turned him into a NFL player, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. Incredible accomplishment.
Absolutely incredible accomplishment. He's represented his country well, and just the fact that he has changed from a rugby player and within 7 years is a Super Bowl champion, and a part of probably one of the best offensive lines we've ever seen.
I want to give a shout out to Zach Bond. He came from New Orleans, where he couldn't get off the special teams roster. He was utilized only on special teams, and Roseman saw something in him, brought him into the Eagles, was able to introduce him to the team, and he led the league in tackles this year. He has had massive impact in the game, in the season, and did so in the game, and as a Super Bowl champion too. It's incredible that he went from New Orleans, never really got a shot, came to the Eagles, best defense in football, and becomes the top tackler in the league in the regular season, and is now a champion too.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, give credit where credit's due. They got a superior scouting team, and they know what they're looking for. They know what they need, and they know what they're looking for. And he checked off all of those boxes. Zach Bond did, and they got him. And look at where they are now.
6 sacks, as I mentioned, of Patrick Mahomes. Josh Sweat had 2.5 of those. He was in his face all game long. Milton Williams had 2 sacks, forced a fumble, and recovered it himself. Absolutely incredible game for him. And they didn't blitz. They didn't blitz. I just got to say that over and over and over. They did not blitz at all. And you would have thought they were blitzing on every friggin' play, because they were all over him. Mahomes didn't have a chance. Didn't have a chance at all. They just dominated. The best offensive line in football, the best defensive line in football. How can you lose football when you have the best 2 lines in the game?
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like, and they totally dominated the line of scrimmage when it came to like the Chiefs' offensive line. Like they had no answers, none, zero answers,
zero. I'm gonna go over their draft picks in the last 5 years. So Jalen Hurts, 2020 second rounder, came in. Then they picked Heisman Trophy winner Devontae Smith in 2021, and also got guard Landon Dickerson that in the second round that year. 2022, they got defensive tackle Jordan Davis in the first round and Cam Jurgens in the second round. 2023, they got defensive tackle Jalen Carter in the first round and Nolan Smith, the linebacker, in the second round. 2024, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, both of them actually in the running for Rookie of the Year this year, and both lights out corners, incredible. And then they got, as I mentioned, Saquon Barkley in a free agent signing. So how can Howie Roseman not be executive general manager of the year? Nick Sirianni, deserves an incredible amount of credit for what he's done, be able to assemble the incredible team that he has around him. But Howard Roseman, man, the past 5 years, drafting so smartly, the scouting department, like you mentioned, holy cow, I'm just blown away at what this team has done in the past 5 seasons. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And the fact that this core unit, they're staying together for quite some time. So we could be potentially looking at the beginning of yet another dynasty right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see. Vic Fangio had never beaten the Chiefs going into this game. He was 0-8 career versus Mahomes when he was with the was 0-6 with the Broncos as head coach and 0-2 as the Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator. So finally was able to get them off his back and get the win. Kellen Moore was the only guy that didn't get back on the Philadelphia plane to head back to Philly from New Orleans because he has been named the New Orleans Saints head coach. And so he packed for life. He didn't just pack for the week. He's gone. So unfortunately, we're losing the best offensive coordinator in the game. But that happens to these championship winning teams. The Chiefs have been lucky not to lose some of their guys, but unfortunately, Kellen Moore, I got to give him a big round of applause. Thank you so much for giving us a championship and sending it our way before you pack your bags, head to New Orleans for good. Sad to see him not get back on that plane, but I understand. Lots more money as a head coach, lots more glory, and all the credit to him. I hope he has a really successful career in New Orleans.
Yeah, I do too. Obviously, you take on a lot more responsibility, but he's done an exemplary job in Philadelphia. So well done by him. And the fact that it just kind of sucks that they have to lose a guy of that caliber. But that's what always happens.
It does happen. Devontae Smith, mentioned him a couple times, but I want to mention him one more. He's the 5th player ever to win the Heisman Trophy and a Super Bowl. Can you name any? Did any come to mind?
That's won the Heisman Trophy and the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh man.
They're all a little bit in our past. I'd say 20 years ago and plus. So
I was gonna say, is Steve Young one?
No.
Oh man,
it's hard. I can name them if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The latest one to do it was Reggie Bush, and then Marcus Allen, Tony Dorsett, and Charles Woodson. It's very select company.
Very select company.
You would think that wasn't the case. You'd think a lot of Heisman Trophy winners would have went on and had Super Bowl winning success, but I guess a lot of them probably go to those organizations that aren't that good and don't have much success because they're picking them, really top of the draft. Eagles were amazed that he fell to them in the draft, and two-time a champion in the NFL and champion in college. Very incredible select company there.
Oh no, that's special company, and you're absolutely right. Like usually, you get picked high, you go to a team, and then you hope that you can bring the team up to the point where they can be Super Bowl contenders. Doesn't always happen though.
Doesn't always happen. I want to give myself a little pat on the back. I won our props bet pool, and I won one of our squares competition. Got the correct score for one of the quarters. So walked away with money, which is always good after going to a Super Bowl party. How about you? Did you guys have any games like that or anything?
Yeah, no, we did the squares and stuff. Yeah, once we did the numbers and stuff for the squares, I was just like, oh yeah, my luck was horrible. So no, I didn't win anything on that. And then I decided to bet with my buddy for the coin toss flip at the beginning of the game. Yeah, lost that too. So.
Damn it. Yeah, so you weren't as happy as I was. I was pretty damn happy. We had an incredible weekend. We got to we won some tickets to the Canucks game, so we got to see the Canucks and the Leafs game, which is always one of those games that you want to be at because there was thousands and thousands and thousands of Leaf fans there, and they got to shut their mouth pretty much throughout the whole game. Canucks ended up winning 2-1. They got one chance to cheer right at the end of the second period. They scored 5 seconds left, and almost everybody was already out of the arena because they were trying to go get beers because they knew the lineups were being so brutal. So the cheers weren't that big, luckily. The guy next to us was a Canucks fan, and he just kept yelling 1967. 1967, the last time the Leafs won the cup. So that was shutting up the people in our direct area, luckily. But holy shit, were there a lot of Leafs fans there. and it was nice that they didn't kick the Canucks' butt. They actually got beat, had to shut their mouths, sit down in their seats, and cry in their beers because the Leafs got beat. Last game of the season before this midseason tournament. So pretty good, great game, nice to be at. Holy cow, was it crazy busy downtown though? Because the Invictus Games opening ceremonies had just finished, and holy cow, there was like, you know, close to 100,000 people downtown, right in that little area. You and I have been down there many times when there's been two events going on, but it just seemed insane at the time we were down there.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine that how insane it was. Actually, you know what? I had a friend that was down there, and he said it's just a madhouse down here, an utter madhouse. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the game, unfortunately, we got some bad news. Demko hurt himself.
Demko did get hurt about halfway through the first period. During a TV timeout, he just skated over to the bench, talked to Talkett for a short little minute, and then just went into the dressing room. Out came Lankinen. No announcement was made. A lot of people didn't even notice until later on. Yeah, he seemed to tweak something during warm-ups. And it just seemed like a few times where I saw some highlights where when he was standing up after saves through that first 10 minutes of the game, he looked like he was wincing a little bit. And it seemed like it was lower body, but you know, NHL is really bad. They won't divulge what the exact injury is unless it's like, you know, season ending and has to go for surgery or anything like that. So the way Talkett talked about it after didn't sound super serious, but he didn't return back to the game. And, you know, luckily he's got this time where they've got the midseason tournament going on. He's not, he won't be participating in it. So give him time to, you know, get back to health. And it was scary though, because he's had some injury troubles over the past couple seasons here, and you know, it worried, I think, you know, all Canucks fans, and definitely when I was sitting there seeing him leave, I thought, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah, of course. Like that's obviously where your mind goes right away, and especially with like he kind of did it super low key.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you're not paying attention, you just wouldn't even have noticed. So hopefully you can get back on the ice as quick as
exactly. You can. And yeah, great weekend with the UFC. Got to watch the Invictus opening ceremonies. Really cool. Going to some events this week. Can't wait. Please attend. The tickets were $13. That's all I paid to go see some of the events that we're seeing this week. And should be a fantastic week. Really, really cool. They actually brought out some of the athletes. And Harry dropped the ceremonial first puck at the Canucks Leafs game. They showed Harry and Megan in their suite during the game, and big cheer there. And yeah, it was. This is great. I'm glad we have it here. You know, I saw the Instagram you sent me about Gronk. You know, saying how much he loved Vancouver and Whistler. I hope everybody that comes here has never been here really enjoys both Vancouver and Whistler. You know, two of the most beautiful cities on the planet. And we're glad that Prince Harry decided to showcase this event here and bring all these incredible athletes. Amazing stories. Really look into it and attend some of these events. I'd really love Vancouver to sell out every single event that's here. So you know, we can really show how great of a city it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, like if you have the time, you have the wherewithal to go see the events, because it's going to be great. It's going to be very entertaining, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah. Does this put the let's go back to the Super Bowl for a second. Does this put the GOAT conversation on serious hold now with Mahomes not being able to win? He's now 3-2 in the Super Bowl in 5 appearances. Tom Brady was 7-3. Joe Montana was 4-0. But does this give him a serious step back in that GOAT conversation?
He still has, how many years has he been in the league? 5, 6 years?
7 years. Like now.
Oh, okay. So like, you know, to get to Tom Brady's status, he still has to play another 13. I think he's still got time.
Yeah.
That's what I would say right away. I'm like, I think he's still got time. I think if he can get, whenever he gets that number 4 one, then I think that conversation strikes up again. But if you're looking strictly at the numbers, because I know I saw a side-by-side of the numbers where Tom Brady, 7-3, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in all the Super Bowl appearances. And now because of Mahomes, this last Super Bowl, I think he's 7-7, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3-2. But he still got
I think it's actually 11 touchdowns, 7 picks.
11 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Yeah.
But he's still 3-2. He still made 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So all he needs to do is still do what Tom did and go to another 5 Super Bowls. Like, the fact that he's already been to 5 is incredible enough, but he still needs to go to another 5.
Right.
And win 4 of them.
Right.
So good luck.
I thought it was pretty amazing that Tom Brady was the analyst on the game. Fox had the rights, and he was there in the building. Okay. I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay. I did think it was cool, but there were some things that he said where I'm just like, oh, give it a break, man. Are you serious? Like, where he's like, well, those 3 Super Bowls that I lost, I go, besides the other 7 that you won, I can read between the lines, Tom. I know what you're doing. Right? You know what I mean? Like, like there are certain things that he would say where I'm just like, I still don't like you. Sorry.
I get it. Yeah. There was a couple times when I think a few people mentioned, I think I even mentioned it myself, when it was starting to get out of hand. I was like, well, weren't the Patriots down 28 in a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So we can't count this out yet, can we? And sure enough, we could count it out, but that was there was a possibility of a comeback because it had happened before. I want to give a special shout out to Randy Moss. Great to see him back on the coverage after his cancer battle. Really happy to see that he's seeming like he's beat it for now and back there. Tons of praise from lots of players, analysts, lots of people around. He's been always one of my favorite athletes, receivers, and personalities. And, we were thinking of him, really, sending our best wishes. And it was such an added bonus that he finally came back the day of the Super Bowl and was able to lend his expertise, analysis, and his joy and fun to the game. It was fun to see him back.
Yeah, it was great to see him back. And the fact that he was able to come back on the Super Bowl was even just that much better. And so, anytime he's part of the analysis, part of the broadcast team, it's always better.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Anything else? Oh, I did want to say that you mentioned earlier that the Chiefs need to get a lot more receivers, a better receiving core. Xavier Worthy had a great game.
Yes, he did.
8 catches, 157 yards, and a couple touchdowns. The touchdown catch was amazing. That last one was incredible. I don't think he was utilized enough all season long. I felt like, he had so much hype going in, and with that speed, they just didn't seem to unleash him enough this year. I think he's a great piece. And with Cooper Kupp being shopped around, maybe that's who they land and bring in. I was surprised that the Rams are shopping him around the league. If I was the Chiefs, boom, that's the first guy that I'd call and get in there to be that complementary piece or that number 1 piece to a Chiefs offense.
I'm going to be honest. When I heard that they were shopping him around, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's still good, right?
Yeah.
Like he's still really, really good. And
Puka Nacua is great, but Cooper Kupp, holy cow, that guy is so friggin', you can rely on that guy. He is money. You throw him the ball, he's getting it.
Yeah, and you had a perfect 1-2 punch. I don't know, I can only guess how Stafford feels about that, but it's just like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If I'm Stafford, I'm like, I would prefer to keep him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I was surprised, very surprised. I want to get into a few of the guys that look like they're going to change teams soon, but
Okay.
any last comments you want to make on the game, on the Super Bowl as a whole?
Yeah, one last comment. This is me being a little bit of petty, but it was cool to see that AJ Brown was happy.
Yeah.
Like I was happy to see that. I'm like, oh, he didn't make no complaints about the fact that he got 3 receptions. That was good. But he did get his touchdown.
Got a touchdown.
And
Yeah.
so with that being said, I knew I'm like, we shouldn't hear anything from him. Got his touchdown. He should now be happy for his team.
Yeah.
Good.
One of our prop bets was, will AJ Brown be reading his book on the sideline? And we ended up seeing him with the book, and
Yeah.
he had opened it up and he was showing somebody else with it. And so then somebody that didn't have him reading it was like, hey, that wasn't reading, that was just opening it, that was just showing it. Come on, come on, come on. And then after the game, I saw him get interviewed. And they said, were you actually reading the book? And he goes, no, no, no. That was just for show. I didn't actually read it. I didn't need to. I had already got enough information in my brain heading in before the game. I was good. So
Okay.
I can say that, after the prop bets are all done, that one, he didn't actually read it. You're right. But it was kind of hilarious. That was one of our prop bets. And it was kind of fun to try to speculate. I thought he was going to read it. So that's one of the only ones I got wrong.
Oh, well, you know what? You got to get one wrong at least, right?
Yeah.
And also, too, again, I know that author is extremely appreciative of the fact that AJ Brown did that for him and has literally changed his life. So thanks for that, AJ. Did well.
Tell me about your thoughts on the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance.
Right. I thought it was pretty good. I was actually the one part of the whole show that I was super impressed by. Unfortunately, there was like where I was for the Super Bowl party, there was like 30 people. So I didn't get to hear what was said. I love the fact that Samuel Jackson was in there with like pretty much looking like Apollo Creed in his getup and stuff. I didn't get to hear what he said though. So I don't know what he said, but that looked awesome. I like that part. I also like the part of seeing Serena Williams on stage as well. And she was doing the crip walk, and she's good at that. She did that well. And I thought, overall, I thought the performance was really good. And because everybody was just like, I don't know if you had a bet to see if he's going to do the Not Like Us song, because a lot of us were like, is he going to be able to do it? Can he say it? Can he do it? And it's like, then he did it at the end, and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. He gave the people what they wanted.
That's good. Yeah. I saw some amazing stats today that he got 1 million more followers on Spotify, had 1 million downloads of that last song, and 430% jump in Spotify streams, and 1 million more people on Instagram. That's the 1 million more. So incredible that he was able to get that much following that quickly. Samuel L. Jackson, I think probably my favorite actor, and incredible to see him. I hope you can actually go and listen, because the things that he was saying were really cool and really funny and very interesting on social commentary, kind of on Kendrick and what he does, what he brings, and how it is. It was pretty neat. It was a cool addition. I was shocked when I saw Serena Williams. Never heard any rumors that she was going to be there. And last time we talked about Serena Williams on this podcast, I kind of didn't say anything great about her because she was trying to commentate on golf and didn't know anything on golf. But this was her lane. She's from Compton, and so it's kind of good that she was able to represent her community and another guy from there. And a pretty neat addition. We had a prop bet that said, will he have 2.5 or less guests? And I picked more, and I won that because of her and Samuel. And so I was like, yay, I'm glad she's there. And I was looking and I was waiting. Come on, guests, throw up guests, more guests, please. I really wanted to win this. And And so Samuel and her addition got me that extra vote or extra point in my pool to help me win the thing.
Well done. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played. That was pretty good of you. Very astute.
It was a tie. Actually, we tied at the top. Tie win, so I do got to say that. But nice to collect the money, half the money, and it was fun. It was fun. AJ Brown's celly. Did you see the celly that he did? Celebration of the touchdown?
Oh yeah. Okay, so that I know that came from Jameis Winston asking him to do it if he gets in the touch, and I thought that was pretty sweet. That was actually awesome.
That was
do the
really
electric
cool.
slide.
Yeah, I thought of you, and I wondered if you had noticed that he did that because it was during media day. Jameis Winston was in the crowd, and he said, "Okay, do the right, do the left, do the slide." And he was able to think of it enough and do it. So very cool. And the game unfortunately was a blowout, which most people don't love, but incredible to see that it was the highest viewed Super Bowl in history. Still, and there was a lot of people that were pissed because the Chiefs were in there. Come on, give another team a chance. So it's incredible that it still holds that much power. And it was $8 million every 30 seconds. I'm really choked that we don't get to see the commercials here in Canada. It really sucks. And I hope at some point there's a way of changing that, because the commercials here really suck. There was nothing about them that you wanted to see at all. And I think that adds so much more to the game, being able to see the commercials.
I absolutely agree with you. Because the one thing that you can definitely guarantee if we see our Canadian commercials is it's just like any other day. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can we see what's coming up on Crave? Like over and over and over and over. Okay, beat me over the head with it, and you're not going to get me to watch it ever again. Like, holy crap. During the week they always have the Hall of Fame honor, or they always have the NFL honors with all the awards, and they have the Hall of Fame inductees do appear during that telecast. That was a really fantastic, very interesting NFL honors. Seeing Bill Belichick flexing with his Super Bowl rings and his young girlfriend in the front row, and Snoop Dogg, amazing host, loved it. He had so many funny quips, so many hilarious exchanges, funny things that he did. But really good to see a lot of really impressive performances finally being honored. Great to see Josh Allen finally get MVP. Great to see a lot of it. Did you get to see it fully, or did you just see the highlights?
I just saw the highlights, and I think I saw the way that he was given the MVP from all the kids from the hospital that he visits.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so touching. I was more impressed that he kept it together as good as he did, because that hit my heart.
One of the greatest MVP speeches I've ever heard. It was absolutely so good. So professional, so good. Kept it together. It was an emotional time for him, but impressive. I was blown away by his just the way that he handled himself and what he said up on the mic. It was incredible.
Yeah, but that's kind of who he is. You know what I mean? And for the Hall of Fame inductees, I'm going to say this by far and away one of my. There's two guys that stand out to me too. Yeah. Number one, because he was one of my favorite receivers growing up, Sterling Sharp. Yeah, I'm just over the moon, ecstatic, so glad that he made it in. Yeah. Because if he never got that injury, he was first ballot.
Yeah.
Like for sure, first ballot. You're right. And then I love the fact that it was his brother that gave him the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, they're the first brother duo to ever make it into the Hall of Fame. Seeing Shannon there. Shannon got to actually they do that knocks where they knock on the door and stuff. Well, Shannon actually was in the basement of his
waiting.
home. Yeah, did you see it when he arrived? And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, what's going on?" And then he's like, "Hey, welcome, brother." And he's like, "Welcome to your home." He's like, "No, welcome to the Hall of Fame." And and you're right. You know, at the time, Sterling was neck and neck with Jerry Rice as the best receivers of all time. And you know, if he didn't get that neck injury, boom, he's definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. But you know, when he was in the league for the short time he was, he led the league in receiving yards. I think 3 times, all Pro Bowl every year, and I think he got 18 touchdowns his final season before he got the injury. It was crazy that his career ended, and then the Packers won the Super Bowl the following year. But you know, Shannon was always saying, you know, that he was my hero, he was my big brother, but you know, he was the man of the family, and you know, the guy I wanted to follow in the footsteps. And it's incredible that both of them are in the Hall of Fame together. That was very touching for me. For me, the best moment was Antonio Gates, one of my favorite receivers of all time, one of my favorite football players of all time, and an incredible story, making it into the NFL, never playing college. He was, you know, never played college football. He was a college basketball player who was phenomenal.
And he was good.
Yeah, he was super talented. Got them into the March Madness from Kent State, which is a very small school compared to the big ones, and was able to get in there. They had 3 huge upsets in the tournament, made it to the Elite 8, and then they turned around and they were like, no, it doesn't look like you're going to have an NBA career. And he just decided to hold a tryout, have all the scouts and stuff come and show him what he could do, what he could bench, what he could run, what he could jump, and was undrafted, signed by the Chargers, became their all-time leading touchdown guy, all-time leading catch guy, most receptions, most yards, most TDs, and was one of the greatest of all time. 119 touchdowns, 116 touchdowns in his career. Absolutely an amazing story of a elite athlete that just said, okay, I'm not making it here, I'm going to make it here, and became one of the best of all time. And it's awesome to, you know, see him. I'm a Chargers fan through and through, and to see him finally recognized, it was just such a great moment for me.
See, I knew you were going to touch on him because he was my second guy, and just his whole journey was just absolutely incredible. Like his journey is somewhat reminded me of Jordan Mailata's journey, where it's just like, I didn't really play football, but when I decided to play, oh, guess what? I'm really good. I'm really good. One of the best ever.
That's amazing. When they made it into the NCAA March Madness tournament, they ended up beating number 2 Alabama, number 3 Pitt, and number 7 OSU in that tournament. Incredibly magical run. They were 24-5 in the regular season. Nobody ever talks about Kent State. They made it into the tournament and they won 3, beat huge upsets all 3 games. And then boom, he was told, okay, you're great, but you know, your body size just doesn't work. You're just too thick, you're too big, you just can't make the NBA. So okay, have a good life. And he's like, okay, I'm making the NFL instead now. And to become the, you know, career franchise leader in all those categories, and to have that kind of decorated career, amazing, and very happy. The other 2 guys were Jared Allen, who finished with 136 sacks in his career, second all-time leader, or 2-time leader on sacks in the seasons, and 22 sacks was the second most ever, with TJ and Michael Strahan had 22.5 one year. Great. He was a beast on defense so many years for Minnesota. It really definitely deserved the honor. And also Eric Allen, no relation. He was with the Eagles in his early part of his career, made the Pro Bowl 6 times, was just a ball hawk, incredible, really, really great guy. He ended up playing with the Saints and the Raiders later on in his career. Very nice decorated career, and good to see him recognized. 5-time Pro Bowler and 6-time Pro Bowler, 54 interceptions, 9 touchdowns, pick sixes, forced lots of fumbles, lots of sacks. Yeah, really good. Kind of weird though that they only nominated 4 into the Hall. It was the lowest amount of guys nominated in since 2005. I really thought that Luke Kuechly should have been in there. I really didn't think he should have been left off the ballot. And Eli Manning got the most controversy. A lot of guys think that he deserves it because of his decorated career, winning 2 Super Bowls and everything. But you need 80%, and he just didn't quite get there.
Okay, so that means he'll get there. I think he'll get there eventually, because at the end of the day, you know what he kind of did, right?
Yeah.
He destroyed Brady's perfect season.
Yeah.
And then the next time he saw Brady, he goes, guess what's going to happen? Same thing. You're going to lose again. Like, if you take out the greatest quarterback that we've ever seen, I think that's got to count for something.
Yeah.
It's got to count for something.
Yeah. Stiff competition for the 2026 class. Drew Brees kind of leads the way. I think he's in 100% for sure. We also have quarterbacks Phillip Rivers and Alex Smith, and then we've got receivers Larry Fitzgerald, Des Bryant, running backs Todd Gurley, Frank Gore, and Greg Olson, tight end. LaShawn McCoy, Shady, I think should be in there. So it might take a few years, but I believe Eli deserves to be in there, and let's hope he gets recognized soon.
Yeah, I think it's only eventual. It's an eventuality, but I think he definitely gets in there. And I think out of the running backs you just mentioned, I don't know about you, but I think Frank Gore definitely gets in.
Yeah.
I think so.
The numbers that he put up. Oh man.
Yeah, the fact that you're a running back and you played that long. That's unheard of. It's unheard of.
He was the one thing about Hall of Fame when they say they don't think he deserves it is that you weren't the best player in the NFL for this season or a few seasons. You weren't, top 3, top 5 guys. And Frank Gore maybe never was really that guy that you were saying, okay, this season he's the top 3, 4, 5 running back in the league. But you do have to credit him for the longevity, for how many yards he put up, how many touchdowns, how often he was there. Just you could count on him year after year after year.
And also, too, on top of that, I'm pretty sure this is correct. He had one of the worst injuries I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
He tore both his patella tendons at the same time.
Brutal.
I still don't know how you do that. But he came back and played for another 12, 14 seasons after that.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
amazing. There's a lot of hungover, sick people today in Philly. The party was unbelievable. I sent you something just about 20 minutes ago before we started the podcast, and it was people riding on horses through the streets. The party was unbelievable. We know parties and celebrations. Hopefully it never got out of control, and there was no looting, there was no fires, there was no rioting, but man, was it ever going off there yesterday?
Yeah. Like I sent you one where I still don't know how they did it, but they had like a 5-ton, and they were throwing pillows out, and people were doing pillow fights in the street. Like, it was just like the randomness of what was going on for the partying was just, it was on another level where you're just like, I don't understand what's happening.
I know. I was laughing the whole time watching the videos. Oh my God. They're having the parade on Friday, which is Valentine's Day. So should be a pretty massive party and really fun to watch. I'm excited for Philly celebrating their 2nd Super Bowl title after winning in 2018 and beating the 2-time defending champions after losing couple years ago. Such poetic, sweet justice, and I don't know if they can keep this team together. if they can find another good OC and yeah, just keep everybody healthy. Yeah, this could be the start of a new dynasty. I'm blown away at what they had to do to beat the champs. You had to really disassemble one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah, and again, they had the perfect game plan, which is Mahomes can hurt you on blitzing, so we're just not going to do that.
Not going to blitz.
and we're going to rely on our front four or front five guys, and they're gonna handle their business. And I was shocked at how much they dominated the line of scrimmage.
Amazing.
The entirety of that game.
Yeah.
Like the offensive line, like now going forward for the Chiefs, they may need to make some changes on the offensive line because it clearly wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Kelsey got shut down. Almost the entire team got shut down. I don't even know. I think we might have seen Taylor once throughout the game. It was pretty crazy. But on to some other news with the NFL. Myles Garrett requested a trade out of Cleveland the week of the Super Bowl. I guess I think we did mention it briefly last cast, but he really doubled down and said, you know, I've really come to a decision that I'm done. I don't really see him re-upping and signing there. Why don't you think he's going to be the most highly coveted guy? And, you know, the bank's going to open big time for any team to bring him in.
Absolutely. He's one of the best edge rushers in the game right now.
Yeah.
Like top 3 for sure. So yes, people are going to offer the Browns quite a bit. And I do not blame Myles Garrett one bit for trying to get out of there. If I'm any of the Browns players, I'd be like, yeah, get me out of here too. Can I come with you, Myles? Please take me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. It's going to be interesting to see where Cooper Kupp lands. It's also going to be interesting to see where Deebo Samuel lands. Deebo also requested a trade out of the Niners a couple years ago. They ended up coming to terms, but I think this relationship is finally done. The Niners just said that they are allowing him and his agent to contact other teams, try to work out a deal. And so it looks like Deebo's gone for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's run its course. You know what? Sometimes if you're dissatisfied with the route that things are going for yourself, then it's time for that change. And if it's time for a change, I'm interested to see where he ends up. I know he's going to end up somewhere hopefully good, hopefully with a contender. Because I don't foresee Deebo going to somewhere where they're doing rebuilding or they're in the bottom, like 3rd of the league. I don't think he's.
Could you see the Chiefs getting him?
That would be awesome, because like as far as I'm concerned, the Chiefs need to go for somebody of that level, like a Deebo or a Cooper Kupp. They need to bring in somebody like that so that they can resuscitate their offense, because this patchwork stuff is just not working anymore.
2 quarterback news. New York Jets decided they will not move forward with Aaron Rodgers. He will be having to find another team if he continues his NFL career. Do you think he plays next year? And likely scenarios, where does he go?
I don't think he has the wherewithal to pick the team that he wants to go to anymore. I think that door has shut. He'll field offers probably from other teams, but those are teams that absolutely need a quarterback, and they'll probably contact him before he contacts them, sort of deal. Yeah. And I totally understand why Aaron Glenn did that move, because I think he wants a hard reset, and he knows how Aaron Rodgers is, and he's just like, well, I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah. Like, I just don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with all of that as well. You can go.
Heard that Russell Wilson and the Steelers are really trying to work it out so he could stay there. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that had run its course, but from his side of things, what he said over the Super Bowl week is that he thinks they want him and he wants to stay.
All right, well, that's good, because we know how that worked out for him in Denver. Not well. So at least the Steelers are interested. They do want to see him. And also, too, like, let's be honest. What else were the Steelers going to do? Like, who else is available? Like, who are they going to get?
Yeah.
right? Like I think they might be kind of stuck with him.
Okay. Okay, let's just talk about the world of golf briefly before we move on a little bit. LIV Golf had their inaugural tournament this weekend in Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis were very, very thrilled. They had a great turnout, awesome tournament. The winner of the tournament, the individual title, was Adrian Meronk from Poland. He won his first ever LIV tournament. And the team tournament was won by Team Legion, led by John Rahm. Great, great, great. A lot of fun. It was a fun tournament to watch. Tons of really, really top talent was right up there on the leaderboard. They head to Adelaide, Australia for this week's tournament. And that is a big, 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 big party. It's super fun. There is an all Australian team that feels like it's their home course, their home. Fans are there and they get rowdy. There's a big party going on. It's super fun. Tune in. Anybody that loves golf, tune in this weekend to LIV Golf. It's a blast, and this is the tournament to watch if you want to watch one on the LIV Tour.
Yeah, you know what, and I like that. I like it where like the tournament has a little bit of personality to it, and people are having fun. It always comes off better to me when you see that the enjoyment that the fans are having, as well as the golf.
Well, that's what happened this week on the PGA Tour. They had their tournament they called the Phoenix Open. It's down in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's the Waste Management Open. Yeah. And the party was going off. It's so crazy there. There was a hole-in-one made on the 16th hole. They call it the Coliseum. They have it completely wrapped around with bleachers, stands, corporate boxes, and hole-in-one. It didn't even bounce. It was hit up into the air and it went straight into the hole. It spun around inside the hole about 4 or 5 times, but it stayed in there. The place went bananas. People were throwing their beers and just going nuts. You got to see the footage if you haven't seen it. Anybody that's watching and listening, it was spectacular. Canadian Adam Hadwin took a shot and landed about 3 inches from the cup. Almost had a hole-in-one too. And there's tons of Canadians that are down there, the Snowbirds. A lot of young people go down there for this tournament specifically. It was a great, great, great time. Super big party. And the winner was Thomas Dietrich. He is from Belgium. And he's come over to North America the last couple of years, finally breaking through here, and won the tournament, blew away the field, actually won by 7 shots, and really was by far wire to wire winner there. And but it was fun, man. It's a fun tournament. I've been there, love it. It's so fun to be there and to party. The party just keeps getting more and more. I think they get about 150,000 people there, and the music's going, the drinking's happening, tons of college kids because it's close to the college campus there. It's a blast, and golf is really fun when the crowd gets that much into it.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's the fun part. That's where the fans are interactive and they're just having time of their lives.
Great to see Jordan Spieth back. He played amazing. He ended up finishing in a tie for 4th place. He finished in a tie for 2nd place. Justin Thomas ended up in a tie for 4th. And then the top Canadian was Adam Hadwin. Just mentioned him. He tied for 9th. He's the Abbotsford native, just like you. And he's really looking good starting 2025. We also had Canadian Ben Silverman from Ontario. He tied for 16th. Defending champion Canadian Nick Taylor tied for 25th. Taylor went to the University of Washington, played a lot of golf up here too. And then we also had Canadians, Mackenzie Hughes and Adam Svensson tied for 36. Great tournaments for the Canadians, a lot of fun. This week they're down in Torrey Pines. They had to change the tournament to Torrey Pines. They played there 3 weeks ago. They had to change this tournament to Torrey Pines because they couldn't play in LA this week because of the fires and the ongoing rejuvenation of the city. So Harris English won just 3 weeks ago, gets to come in. and play the tournament again. Really should have a leg up. Taylor Pendrith tied for 7th that week, and really looking forward to playing this tournament for sure. We expected Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had announced that he was playing this tournament. It was going to be his first PGA tournament of the year, but his mom passed away, and he's decided to forego the tournament this week as he deals with that. And that's very understandable, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. He needs to take care of that first before anything else.
He had won 8 times on that course, so everybody was really looking forward to seeing him play on that course this year. He's been so dynamite and lights out there. TGL takes a break this week, and they have a bye week. Next week, actually, all the teams will play each other. It's a triple header next Monday, so should be super fun to watch next Monday. Triple header. All the teams in the league will be playing that day. In the tennis world, give shout out to Dennis Shapavalov from Richmond Hill, Ontario. He won the tournament in Dallas. It's the ATP 500 tournament there. It's his 3rd career win on the ATP tour, and he beat world number 5 overall Casper Ruud, who's actually number 2 ranked in this tournament. He was able to beat him in straight sets, 7-6, 6-3. Really, really great to see Chapo win this tournament. A lot of good players were there, and it was very fun to see another Canadian raising the trophy after the tournament.
Always good to see Canadian talent win and putting us once again on the map.
Yeah.
Tennis.
Carlos Alcaraz, he's fallen down to world number 3 in the world, but he did win the tournament in Rotterdam in 3 sets over Australian Alex de Minaur. Alcaraz, he won. It was an indoor tournament. That was his first ever indoor title. And at 21 years old, he's the first player to win on every surface, or he's the youngest player to win on every surface that they do play in tennis. So pretty incredible accomplishment for him. He's known for certain surfaces, never had won an indoor title until this moment. And he got his hand raised this weekend too.
Again, a credible accomplishment, given the fact that he actually won on a surface he's not used to winning on. So,
yeah,
great move.
Okay, let's turn to the NBA. I want to mention one thing off the top. Hubie Brown, the Hall of Famer, great basketball coach and legendary broadcaster, had his final game on the weekend. He's 91 years old. I can't believe a guy can still be calling games at 91 years old.
Wow.
Lots of tributes to him over the weekend, over today. This stat is pretty mind-blowing. He has coached or broadcasted games for more than 80% of the players in NBA history. So the guy has been around forever. He was a great college player, and then immediately out of college, he was inducted into the Army, had to leave for his Army duty, came back, briefly played pro, and then realized that maybe that length of time that he had been away from the game was too long. Decided to get right into coaching, coached in the college ranks for years, and then he came into the NBA, 2-time NBA Coach of the Year. He coached the Hawks, the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Memphis Grizzlies in his career. An amazing analyst. He was the analyst on CBS, TNT, ESPN, ABC, and he's going to be sorely missed. Really just always was able to come up with incredible stories from days gone by, and one of the legends that I was amazed by. I wondered why he retired at the mid part of the season, but when I looked into a little bit of his bio today, he lost both his wife and his son over the past few months, and so I'm sure that he's trying to dedicate his time to the rest of his family over the coming years. And I hope all the best in the retirement. It's amazing that he can still have a job at 91 years old. Man, that's something to shoot for all of us.
No, yeah, most certainly something to shoot for. Just the fact that because he still had to travel, right?
Yeah.
And he's still getting on a plane and he's still doing all that sort of stuff. Like the dedication, the love that he has for the game, because you only do that if you absolutely love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because, he could have retired, I don't know, 20 years ago when he was 71, but he decided to keep going. So that's just a testament to how much he loves the game. It's a testament to how much people appreciate his analysis. Yeah. So well done, and hopefully he enjoys these last couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. Hope so. Yeah, he's great, really great. The NBA Players of the Week in the West was Nikola Jokic, 4-0 record for the Denver Nuggets, almost 30 points per game, 10.8 rebounds, and 10.3 assists, averaging a triple-double. And the stat that blew me away recently, I think we've talked about this a bit, but when he's on the floor, the Denver Nuggets are the most efficient team in NBA history, and when he's off the floor, they are the worst team in NBA history for efficiency. It's incredible what he brings. And somebody mentioned that because his lack of athleticism, not jumping, 10 feet in the air all the time, he probably can stay healthier than some of these guys that are always up in the air. When they're coming down, they're crashing, they're breaking things, they're snapping things. He doesn't need that. He just thinks the game like no other. The Joker is just a magician and incredible mind for the game. And deserves deserves the MVP every year, I think. And it's pretty wild to see him just every single solitary week just producing at such an incredible level.
His stats are mind-boggling. Like they just literally are. Like it's just he's absolutely incredible. Now when I actually think about it, so the Luka trade, I'm going to bring this back to the Luka trade. Please, Luka for AD. AD comes, plays just this past weekend, got hurt, crazy, no way. All right. Yeah. So if in my thoughts are this, if you were going to do that trade, Luka, it should have been Luka for Joker.
Yeah.
Or something of that magnitude.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't have been so pissed.
Right.
That works because guess what? Joker plays and he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Because you could say maybe because of the lack of athleticism, but it's enough that he's literally one of the best players in the league, if not the best player right now in the league.
Yeah. Well, we talked about those amazing trades last year. Over the years in the NBA, last episode, we talked about all the incredible bounty that they got. I mentioned Carson Wentz off the top, and the Eagles were able to reshape their team. They were able to get
literally,
so many incredible players out of that deal. And so there's this conspiracy going on now.
Yes.
Because of that terrible trade that the owners of the Mavericks, they are casino magnates, and they really want to get a casino tied to the arena there.
No.
And if they can't, then they're going to threaten to go to Vegas and have the team there and be able to open up a casino there. Do you think there's any validity to this conspiracy theory? Because they're with Anthony Davis, it was almost a guarantee that he was going to get hurt.
Going to get injured.
If he's on the floor and he's great, they have a chance to win. But most of the time, he's not going to be there.
Exactly. Absolutely. Like there's a couple conspiracy theories. Like maybe the NBA was actually involved too, saying that if you move Luka to do this at this particular point in time, because this is the only time that the NBA was front and center before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about the Super Bowl. Everybody was talking about the trade, right? Yeah. So there's smart marketing for the NBA, number one.
Yeah.
We'll see if this is the truth that's what the owners are trying to do, which is strong arm the city or the state into doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because all we have to do is just watch now. That's all we got to do. We got to just watch and see what happens behind the scenes and see if this move was the wake-up call to the state and to the city of Dallas to say, give us what we want or else.
Yeah. Well, I saw it here in Vancouver. We had the Grizzlies here. They kind of rode them into the ground.
Yep.
The apathy, the lack of success here really just made it easier to move the team. It wasn't as much, outcry. And, there has been death threats to Nico Harrison. There have been massive protests outside the arena. They lost millions of followers on their social media accounts. I'm sure it's going to impact the amount of people in the stadiums buying gear, it's definitely going to have a huge impact in Dallas. And, it seems like such a bizarre trade, such a bizarre move for a guy that's an international superstar at 25 years old. And you did it in the dark of the night. You make this move. And everybody's like, why and what the hell's going on? We want to find answers. We want to know why this was ever made.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then I heard another conspiracy theory of maybe the owners want to take back control. It's like players have been dictating where they want to go for the longest time. Right. Now, like when the Supermax contracts are coming up, trade them away. And then all of a sudden they can't get the money. Right. They can't get their Supermax contracts. Like none of the players will be able to do that. Because I believe Luka, since he got traded and he was up for the Supermax, he lost over $100 million.
Yeah.
Now imagine if they keep doing that for all the stars.
Yeah.
Where their Supermax comes up, trade it. Yeah. Could you imagine if that actually happened?
Yeah. Yeah. There could be some collusion there. There could be, there has been a sharp drop in ratings in the NBA. There have been some things that have been concerning to owners, to Adam Silver, and they're trying to do their best to figure out what's going on and how they can reverse this trend and get it back, to the popularity that it had before. So we'll see. We're just going to have to sit back and watch, like you say. I'm glad you mentioned Luka. He's playing tonight, supposedly. The game is starting, it's supposed to start around 7:30, so I guess it would have been happening. Let's see if I can pull up if he definitely did start. But Dirk Nowitzki is supposed to be in the crowd today, which is kind of amazing and cool, and great to see that Luka's finally going to make his debut. Let's hope it goes way better than Anthony Davis's debut. They did announce today that this abductor strain is actually going to keep him out weeks and possibly months. So
crazy.
Pretty brutal. Yeah. He was playing phenomenal that game.
Yes, he was.
What's the saying they say? The best ability is always availability. And so, when you're not available, it's not going to help much. And I sent you that over the weekend and you were like, yeah, figures. Luka's in the game, played 7 minutes, has 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist so far early on in the game. Lakers are beating the sad sack Utah Jazz 32-21. The game I was watching just before we turned this on, was the game between the Warriors and the Bucks, and the Warriors ended up winning tonight. The game over the weekend, the Warriors were playing Chicago, and it's Jimmy Butler's opening game of the of his Warriors career. Warriors were down about 8.5 minutes left. They were down by 24 points. They went on in a massive run, a 73-28 run to finish off that game. And it was apparent that the Butler and Steph are probably the two best guys to have on a team, because they were so polar opposites. You can get Jimmy working on the inside, you get Steph working on the outside. Steph attempted 16 threes in that game. Jimmy attempted 1. Steph didn't enter the paint often. Jimmy was there almost the entire game, and he went to the free throw line all game long. And it's just such a great duo because they are such polar opposites.
Yeah, exactly. They just do different things, and the different things that they do complement each other, actually. Yeah. It works well with one another. And it kind of funny for me to watch Jimmy play from the last time I saw him play, and I go, oh, so he can't play basketball. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was
Completely
not
different.
There really in spirit at all. His last season in Miami, he just wasn't even trying, it looked like, for sure. So tonight they beat the Bucks 125-111. Steph Curry ended up getting 38 points. Butler had 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. And really, a nice compliment. That game was fun to watch. It was back and forth. Giannis is out with an injury, just got injured. So they were down him. Damian Lillard had a great game, 38 points himself. But when you're missing Giannis, definitely Milwaukee's not the same team.
No, absolutely not the same team. It's hard to win without your star player, your best player.
Speaking of Giannis, he's now out of the All-Star game. So Trae Young will replace him in the All-Star game. Trae Young was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. The Hawks were 3-1 on the week. Trae had 31.3 points per game, 10.5 assists on 48-point shooting. And did you see the All-Star teams that were drafted by Shaq, Kenny, and Charles? Did you see the teams they got together? No. Okay, so this is the way the format's working now for the All-Star game. They're going to have 4 teams. They're going to play two games, and then the 2 teams that win those 2 games are going to go into a final game. So there'll be 3 games played on Saturday. On Sunday this coming weekend in San Francisco, where the Warriors play. They pooled 24 players together, gave the both Charles, Kenny, and Shaq the ability to draft their teams together. And then the 4th team is going to be the winner of the Young Stars game. So it's the rookies against the Young Stars. And whoever wins that game gets to be the 4th team out of these teams. I want to list off the 8 players on each team and see what your thoughts are. Very interesting, different philosophies that they all 3 employed. I'm leaning towards one team for sure. Let you tell us what your thoughts are. Team Shaq. First of all, he has the three of the top 4 3-point artists in NBA history. 3 of the top 4. So his team's pretty stacked. Okay, starts off with LeBron, Steph, Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and James Harden and Jaylen Brown. So listen to that team.
Pretty good team. That's pretty good squad.
Steph is number 1 overall, 3-pointers, 3,933 going into tonight. James Harden's number 2 with 3,076. Damian Lillard, 2,757 3-pointers going into tonight. Ray Allen is in 3rd place currently with 2,973. So, so he's got the shooting down, plus LeBron, Tatum, KD, as his forwards. Pretty damn incredible. For Team Chuck, we've got the Joker, Nikola Jokic, Trae Young, who just replaced Giannis. SGA, we got Wemby, Pascal Siakam, Sengun, Alperen Sengun, Karl Anthony Towns, and Donovan Spider Mitchell.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I think Shaq's team's still better, but that's not bad.
And Team Kenny, he went for Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, and his teammate Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham and Tyler Hero. And his thoughts were, I want to get as many young guys as I can because the old guys are going to get tired. They're going to want naps, and I'm going to be able to kick your guys' butt. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's
yeah, that's the weakest out of the three so far.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kenny.
That looks like team 3 to me, but pretty neat the way they're doing it. Pretty interesting. But when I looked at Shaq's roster, I'm like, holy cow, that thing is absolutely unbelievable. Incredible. If he can get them to play hard, how are you going to beat that team?
Well, first off, you're not. And then also, too, I love the fact that the 3 guys that were instrumental in the Olympics for the U.S. to win, KD, LeBron, Steph, all on his team, too. Weird how that happened. Now, the only thing that I'm saying about this new format, it sounds cool and all, but are the guys going to be engaged? Are they actually going to play?
I hope
so. Are they going to be like, that's the only thing that I always have that question mark now going into this. I wish it was back in the day when Jordan was playing, where he was just like, no, we're playing hard because I'm playing hard.
I know. I wish LeBron or somebody could get them to do that. Kyrie's in for Anthony Davis, who was on the team originally, but Kyrie's replacing his teammate now. Another announcement about another perennially injured NBA All-Star. Joel Embiid announced that he will have to undergo another knee surgery. He thinks he's going to be able to push it to the off season, but we'll have to do that. That's what gets you carrying around 60 extra pounds and not working out in the off season. And another guy that just keeps getting injured year after year after year. And we can all see the writing on the wall. He can't for some reason. And he's going to have to go under the knife again. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's very brutal. Like the fact that, I just wish he would take his conditioning a little bit more seriously and would probably alleviate all these injuries. And also, too, I'm going to be honest. What's the point? Like, dude, just go for your surgery now. Like, what's the point? Why push it off? It's fine. Your team's garbage. You're not going anywhere. Go do the surgery now. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that might be a wise move. Smart. Yeah. The other strange thing that happened to the Lakers over the weekend was they brought in Mark Williams for his physical. He unfortunately failed it. They said he has too many health issues, and they rescinded the trade. So now the guys got to go back to their respective teams. Dalton Knecht is now back a Laker, and the Lakers don't have any kind of centerman. And this was kind of bizarre and weird. I hope that Mark Williams is going to be fine, but I'm surprised that he was that banged up that they decided that they couldn't go through with the trade.
No, that's just actually not good. It's just not good at all, because if you look at his age and the fact that he's supposed to be a hyper athletic big, and it's like, well, why are you moving off him? Right? Because you're in a rebuilding phase and you want to get rid of this asset, which should be seen as an asset. And now we know why, because he's broken. That's why.
Yeah.
And they knew that, and they thought they could get away with it, but they didn't. So.
Yeah. These are the healthy Lakers centers currently: Jackson Hayes, Trey Jemison III, and Christian Koloko. Not going to be able to provide you enough at the center position to go any very far at all. The two guys that they were kind of hoping and counting on were Maxi Kleber and Christian Wood, but both of them are injured and unlikely to return for a while. So, I don't know what plan B holds. Plan C, I don't know what the Lakers are going to do, but this really puts a cramp into being competitive, getting into the playoffs this year and going on a run if they don't have somebody that can work well with LeBron and Luka.
Well, or they just look at LeBron and say, what do you think, big man? Center? Think you can pull it off?
Magic did. Magic used to.
I know. But at the same time, it's you can't ask LeBron to do everything anymore. I'm sorry. He's too much time.
One more mention of Luka. He gave $500,000 to the
Yep.
LA Fire Relief Fund, even though he lost $116 million moving over. So pretty impressive first move before he's even played a game.
Very impressive move. Great PR move. And also, too, I think he's also stated that he's committed to rebuilding some of the outside basketball courts.
Nice.
So the kids have somewhere to play. So he's doing all the right moves right now.
Ben Simmons joins the Clippers. Basically, who cares? But good that he's actually able to continue his NBA career, amazingly enough. And then the last basketball note, Alex Rodriguez and his partner Mark Lohr were able to get through an arbitrator, get a decision that their sale is supposed to take place and go through finally for the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was just announced today. They've been trying for years to make this happen, and they've been encountering so many troubles, legal issues and stuff, but an arbitrator's finally ruled for them. And so we might be able to see A-Rod finally take over this team.
So is he buying it from Mark Lohr?
No, both of them together.
The both of them together, because who's the owner right now for the Timberwolves? Because I think he tried to block it.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the problem?
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, well, now I don't want to get rid of it. It's like, no, we had a deal.
Yeah.
We had a deal, right? Like, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Nasty.
Is right. Okay, we're gonna talk about the UFC in a minute, but I want to mention the NHL off the bat here. We're finally on our mid-tournament season break here, and the Four Nations Faceoff will be happening starting on Wednesday. Canada plays Sweden game 1. That goes in Montreal on Wednesday, 5 o'clock puck drop Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time. The next day has the other two teams, USA, Finland, playing Thursday. The early games all happen in Montreal, and the later games the following week happen in Boston. Finland and Sweden play Saturday, early 10 a.m. Puck drop Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, and USA, Canada play on Saturday, 5 o'clock Pacific puck drop. And then next week, we've got games on Monday, Canada, Finland, USA, Sweden, and then the top two teams play in the final on Thursday, and that's Thursday, February 20th, 5 o'clock puck drop for that. We received great news here in Canada. Sidney Crosby, who has been banged up and missing games for the Penguins the past week and a half, he is healthy enough and practiced with Canada today on the ice and will suit up for the team. There was a lot of worry there that he wasn't going to play, but thankfully he's there. It looks like he's going to be centering the second line. And yeah, some of the lines came out today. Pretty exciting, man. This team is looking stacked. I'm really excited for these games. Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, and Sam Reinhart on the first line. Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby, and Nathan MacKinnon on the second line. Nathan and Sidney are from the same hometown back in the Maritimes, and really great to see them finally getting a chance to play together. We've got on the third line Seth Jarvis, Braden Point, and Brad Marchand. Fourth line, Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, and Sam Bennett. On defense, we've got our Abbotsford boy, Devin Taves, playing with his teammate on the Avs, Cale Makar. Josh Morrissey, Colton Pareko, a second pairing. Shea Theodore, who's from Aldergrove, and Drew Doughty, who just got named to the team to replace the injured Alex Pietrangelo. And yeah, the power play was shown a little bit today too, and that's going to be Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Nathan MacKinnon, Sam Bennett, and Cale Makar. So whoa, Crosby and McDavid and MacKinnon together should be a lethal power play. The other teams better stay out of the penalty box, or they're going to be sorry. There's going to be a lot of goals scored by Canada.
Yep, absolutely. That's a That's a very good squad. That's a strong squad. And I would expect no less from Sidney Crosby because he's still got a little bit of old school in him. Kind of reminds me, obviously he's not injured to that point, but I'm pretty sure he could suit up because of Stevie Y.
Right.
Remember Stevie Eiserman? Yeah, played on one leg. If that guy could go on one leg, you can go on two. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. The Team USA received some really bad news, though. Canucks captain Quinn Hughes has opted out of the tournament because he is injured. We don't know too much about the extent of the injury, but he's missed the last 3-4 games for the Canucks, and he finally just had to make the heartbreaking announcement that he's not going to be there. It was a big blow for US, especially his brother, Jack Hughes, being on the team. He's the most dynamic defenseman, and he would have anchored that power play and been out there a lot of minutes and really helped Team USA. So a blow for the Canucks and also Canuck fans, and also Team USA not having one of their best defensemen out there.
Yeah, man, it sucks for the US. On the other hand, good for Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. The Team USA also had the practice today, and these are their lines and pairings. Jack Eichel's the center for the first line, Kyle Connor and Matthew Tkachuk on that first line with him. Jake Gensel, Austin Matthews, and Jack Hughes, the second line. JT Miller is the center for the third line with Brady Tkachuk and Matt Boldy. Third line has Vincent Trocheck centering Brock Nelson and Dylan Larkin, and Chris Kreider and him were alternating on that right side on that fourth line. The two brothers, Tkachuk brothers, are really super excited to be playing with each other, and it should be fun to see them together. On defense, Jacob Slavin with Adam Fox at the top pairing, Zach Werenski, Charlie McAvoy second, Noah Hannafin and Brock Faber is the third pairing. Jake Sanderson is the seventh defenseman. He's the guy that replaced Quinn Hughes on the roster to come in. And Team Sweden's looking solid. They've got a hell of a lot of talent there too. Do not sleep on them. Mika Zibanejad centers William Nylander, Ricard Raquel. Elias Pettersson from the Canucks is the second line center in between Forsberg and Kempe. Joel Eriksson Ek is the third line center with between Raymond and Bratt. And then Gustav Nyquist, Elias Lindholm, former Canuck, and Magnus Arvidsson are on the fourth line, with Carlson being the 13th forward. Victor Hedman and Brodin are the top pair defensemen. Ekholm and Carlson second, and Rasmus Dahlin and Anderson third. Gustav Forsling was sick today, didn't suit up, so he might be put into one of those lines we talked about. And the Team Finland has Barkov, Lehkonen, and Rantanen on the top line. Laine, Aho, Teravainen, second line. Kunst, Granlund, and Kapokako on the third line. Listerainen, Anton Lindell, and Joel Armia on the fourth line. Niku Makala and Esa Lindell on defense. Oli Mata and Nicolas Matopolo, second line, and they unfortunately Finland has had 3 defensemen go down injured in the past week or so they've had to shuffle their lineups and try to replace them. So but it's going to be an awesome tournament. Can't wait for every game. I'm going to be there front and center. I wish I could be in Montreal and Boston. Lucky people that are going to get to be there. It's the first best on best tournament we've had in years. So it's really, really, really highly anticipated and should be super exciting to watch.
It's going to be some great hockey. Some great, fantastic hockey. Actually, you know what? You would know this more than I would. When was the last time something like this actually happened?
Yeah, I think it's actually been about 8 years, I think. 8 years.
8 years? Yeah. It's been a while. So that's exciting. It's good. Super, and the squads are super strong.
Yeah. They're awesome teams. In the NHL, last week before the break, we had 3 stars. First star was Brandon Hagel, who's on the Canadian national team. He had in 4 games, 4 goals and 4 assists. for Tampa Bay Lightning. The second star was Thatcher Demko. He had 2 wins, only .46 goals against average and .985 save percentage with 1 shutout. Unfortunately got injured, or probably would have even had better numbers. And then third star is Matthew Tkachuk for Florida. He had 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points in only 3 games. And as I mentioned, he's on Team USA with his brother, so should be fun to see them play. They played against each other on the weekend, and they were battling each other big time. And then they were hugging after the game, realizing that they're heading off to the Four Nations Faceoff, finally getting to play as teammates for the first time. So that should be super exciting for the Tkachuk family.
Yeah, very exciting. I'm more surprised that they didn't fight each other and then hug it out.
Yes. No kidding. Yeah, they're like that. I wouldn't have been surprised too. Okay, let's get into the UFC talk. UFC 312 happened in Sydney, Australia at the Kudos Bank Arena. It was very smart of them. I mentioned it last week. Very smart of them to have it on Sunday, starting in the morning on Sunday and going through into the middle of the afternoon, so we could watch it at our regular time slot here. It was the biggest attendance that they had ever had at the arena, fully sold out, 18,253, $7.7 million gate, set a record in Australia for it. I heard it was super stuffy, really, really hot and muggy and tough on the athletes there. It is kind of the summer, sort of the middle of summer, a little bit after the middle of summer there. So kind of maybe not the best time to have an event there of this magnitude. Yeah, I might shift it a little bit earlier or a little bit later in the summertime. Middle of summer, maybe not the best time to do it.
It's tough on the athletes, man, especially with the mugginess, and it's like you'd lose your wind, like really quick.
So we talked about the blowout right at the start of the podcast, blowout Super Bowl. Well, this was blowout 2 title fights, absolute blowouts. The champions got the raise and there was really just total domination by both champions. The challengers really didn't seem like they had it in them. They had the ability to do anything to them, and they were big mismatches in the end. And these 2 champions were far and away better. We'll start with the main event. Dricus du Plessis really on an incredible run. But we saw Sean Strickland and him have a really competitive fight last time in Toronto. Dricus ended up winning that fight by split decision, but this one was 100%
clearly
Dricus. And I don't know what was wrong with Strickland. He just didn't have it. He just didn't have it. He just didn't even seem to really go for it big time at the end. His coach, Eric Nixick, kept imploring him, yelling at him, trying his best to get him going, but he just couldn't do it.
It's almost like I want to say it was after the second round where he was really getting on him.
Yeah.
It's like Strickland kind of shut him out. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really listening to him, or he was annoyed at what he was saying.
Yeah, he would leave the corner and try to not listen and hear him.
It's almost as if he's like saying, like, I'm trying. It's like, yeah, you may be trying, but you're not doing what we practice. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like the adjustments that I was expecting Strickland to do, I didn't see it.
Never came.
Like I needed him to let his hands go. I said it before. He needed to throw combinations. He needed to be more to be busier. None of that happened. And by the way, du Plessis had a way easier time dealing with Strickland in this fight than he did in the last fight. Way easier.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. It was bizarre. Some people are going to point to the broken nose, and it was severely broken. I've had this nose broken lots of times, and I've had to reset it, and it's not pleasant. It's not fun, but you still give your full effort. You're going to have things break. You're going to have your arm break. You're going to have your leg break. You're going to have things happen. definitely most fighters get their nose broken in 5-round wars. And, so it just seemed like he was mentally checked out. I'm not a fan of Sean Strickland, have never been, but I've seen him perform much, much, much better than this. And this wasn't worthy of a challenge to a belt. And, I think maybe his ship sailed to get another opportunity when he's given this much of a chance and he just doesn't show up.
No, exactly. Like after this dominant win, and I'll call it what it is, it's a dominant win by Duplessis. Unless Duplessis loses the belt, Strickland's not getting another shot.
No.
Nor does he deserve one.
No.
Done.
He talks such a big game. He calls him out. He says all this stuff, and then it just doesn't materialize in the fight. It was just frustrating. And you thought, this could have been a really good fight. That first fight was close, but this was just a one-sided affair. And Dricus has improved massive leaps and bounds from the early days when he came into the UFC. He is a tough fighter to fight because he's so unorthodox. He throws some weird shots. He comes on, strange angles. He's not technically sound whatsoever.
Nope.
But neither is Strickland. It's to a different degree, but Dricus really has become elite, and he's going to be a problem for everybody in this division. And just seems to be getting better and better and better by leaps and bounds every time.
Yeah, because he's got that championship confidence. Yeah. And when you have that confidence, you're just an exceptionally hard fighter to beat.
Yeah. He called out Alex Pereira after, but it seems like Khamzat Chimaev is on the collision course with him. Do you see that that's his next opponent?
It's either Chimaev or Imavov. That's what I think. It's either one of those two, or Chimaev and Imavov fight to see who has the pleasure of fighting Duplessis.
Okay. What's next for Strickland? What are they going to do with him?
Well, he's going to bounce around. He's going to fight people in the top 10, and there we go.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, I started looking at the rankings, and I kind of think that Robert Whittaker to me makes the most sense.
That would be a good fight.
That would be a good fight. Yeah,
that would be a good fight.
Okay. Before we get into the co-main and other elements to this, I do want to make mention of Dominic Cruz. It was announced on the weekend that he is finally retiring for good, hanging them up. He was supposed to fight this coming, not this weekend, but the following weekend against Rob Font. Severely dislocated his shoulder again and has decided that that's enough. He's had enough. He's been beset by injuries his entire career. It's been just unbelievable how many injuries he's had to endure and overcome. Phenomenal career, 24-4 in MMA, two-time bantamweight champion, last champion ever from the WEC, came into the UFC, was able to get the belt, lost it due to injuries, came back after a very long absence, was able to beat TJ Dillashaw and recapture the belt. A lot of people consider it one of the greatest comebacks of all time in the sport. And he was able to have a lot of really, really great battles. Had one more shot at the belt against Henry Cejudo, fell short after a really long layoff. That was about 3.5-year layoff there before he had that shot. But as I said, dislocated his shoulder so bad. They called him the Dominator, and it was a very apropos nickname for a fighter because he did dominate when he was at his height, and he had such incredible movement that he was a fighter ahead of his time. I think nobody knew, how to hit him, how to, fight him, because the way his striking was, weird angles coming at you. He was just so elusive, so technically skilled. He was incredible to watch, and it's just really too bad his career got a bit derailed with injuries, but I still think he's Hall of Fame worthy, and one day I think should be going in there. He's been a great broadcaster once they came on. It's nice to see him still involved. with the UFC so heavily, and I think yeah, the Hall of Fame will come knocking one day.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I actually appreciated what Bisping had to say about his commentating partner. The fact that they don't see eye to eye sometimes. It's like, oh no, we're well aware of that. But he gave him his flowers because he absolutely deserves those. He's been a fantastic fighter for so long and overcome so much all the time. I appreciate the fact that he said, I can't go.
Right.
I'm done. Right. Because the dislocation was so severe. It kind of reminded me of what a certain fighter should have done and didn't do, and decided to try to fight with a severely dislocated shoulder, TJ Dillashaw. He should never have done that, because I believe now, going forward for his life and the rest of his career, his shoulder's permanently messed because of what he did.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to take a step back and be like, is it actually worth it?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
No.
Your health is more important, man.
Yeah. So nice to be able to retire at 39 years old. He turns 40 in March, and he'll have a long, decorated broadcasting career ahead of him. And I'm sure he'll be in a lot of gyms, being able to try to teach the young blood coming through. I don't think anybody's going to be able to ever fight like him, but
Nope.
you know, what a unique guy, and really nice that he was able to make that retirement notice, and they were able to recognize him on the broadcast. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, they did make an announcement of the Hall of Fame induction of the Israel Adesanya Kelvin Gastelum fight, UFC 236, April 13th of 2019, 5-round war. One of the greatest fights we'll ever see in a title battle. What Strickland should have brought on Saturday night, he did not. And it's cool that they're recognizing this as a fight to go into the Hall of Fame.
That was a great fight. And it's one of those ones that sometimes you forget that one happened, but it was a fantastic fight. Gastelum gave it everything he had in that fight. But Izzy was up to the challenge, man. It was a very, very, very good fight.
Nobody at that time was giving Izzy any kind of troubles. He was walking through competitor, challenger after challenger, and that was probably his stiffest test for many, many, many years there. So good on Gastelum, and nice that he will be able to say, I'm in the Hall of Fame. It's pretty cool. This card was good. There was a little too many decisions for my liking. Out of the all the fights, there was only 2 TKOs, 1 submission, 8 decisions, and 1 draw decision too. I like a little more finishes, but all in all, there was a lot of fun fights, and I can't wait to break them down. One thing that I made notice on this card was how many amazing cornermen were in the corners for the fighters on this card. We had Charles Oliveira, Alex Volkanovski, Ilya Topuria, Eugene Berriman, Alex Pereira, Uriah Faber, Merab Dvalishvili, and on and on and on and on. Like, that's how many top level fighters were in the corners of some of these competitors on Saturday night. Awesome to see.
Awesome to see. Although I understand why they were in the corners. They want to go to Australia. I get it. I understand.
Right. There was 8 fighters from Australia or New Zealand on the card, and so that was great for the local people to be able to cheer on their local fighters. Toffa, Matthews, Thickness, Salke, Jimmy Crute, Jenkins, Nolan, and McAuliffe. Pretty great. I loved it when we had it here in Vancouver last year, and there was all the Canadian fighters on the card. Very fun. It adds so much to it, and they've turned out in full force. Awesome to see so many great performances by the Aussies and Kiwis. Okay, let's turn to the co-main. Zhang Weili ended up getting the victory. I don't think to many people's surprise. I think Tatiana Suarez is a great competitor, but she's just not on that level. And it was super apparent throughout this entire fight. It was just a one-sided affair to me. And Wei Li is, just incredible fighter. And I just didn't see this as, somebody that she should be worried about, but she really just proved it right and just basically took this whole entire fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, first off, Suarez hadn't been in the octagon for quite some time,
Long time.
but she was the odds-on favorite. That was the one thing where I'm like,
Bizarre.
what are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I'm pretty sure Whaley's gonna win this going away.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
that's when you got to play a bet, Jason. That's when you got to put a bet down.
Yeah, I know. You can't win if you don't bet. But so Suarez, her best round was the first round. I think she won that round, and then it was over after that, because even at the end of the first round, Weili had reverse position, was wailing on her, and then that's kind of the way the fight went after that.
Yeah. She wants Valentina Shevchenko now. Do you want the UFC to give it to her? Do you think that's the fight to make?
I will say this. Both ladies are pretty close in age. I believe Valentina is 37, Weili's 36. They're coming. You could argue that they're coming to the end of their careers. Give it to them.
Yeah.
Because pretty much they both cleared out their divisions. What else do you want them to do?
Yeah.
Beat up some more people that they've already beaten up? Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I hope they do. And it sounded like Dana White was, hey, yeah, she deserves it. She's been great, and I'm going to give it to her. So I hope that's true and that's the case. And yeah, she deserves it. She's been phenomenal. What a career she's had, and to see that super fight be something to really look forward to.
No, it would be fantastic, and it should obviously be the headliner if they do make that happen. That's what those two ladies have earned. It should happen, and hopefully it does happen at some point in time this year.
Okay, the fight right before the co-main was a heavyweight battle between Justin Badman Toffa and UFC newcomer Tyson Teixeira. This one pissed me off because it was an early stoppage. Badman can handle way more damage than that. He would have been able to get up, and this would have been thrown down. Rich Mitchell got in way too soon, called it off. 50K bonus for Teixeira for 38 seconds of work, but man, I've seen comebacks. He could have given him more chances. This is a tough guy to knock out. I know he was down on his hands and knees, but I think he could have lasted a lot longer.
I understand where you're coming from. You would need him flat on his face, not moving. Then you can call the fight.
He would have preferred that too. I know he would have. Ask him right now. He's on the phone right now.
But I will say this, Teixeira, that was one heck of a nasty elbow that he delivered to him.
Yeah.
Nasty elbow. I do agree with you, though. A little bit of a quick stoppage, because once again, that's why I appreciate former fighters being refs.
Yeah.
Because they understand, they know, and they know the temperature of the fighters that are in the octagon. They know that guy can take punishment. So that would mean I'm just going to give you a little bit more leeway, a little bit more rope, see what happens.
Justin Toffa's been in so many fights in his life. You don't think he's ever been hit that bad and knocked down and got up and knocked the guy out? Like, come on. Like, he is a tough guy that can handle a lot of punishment. I think that broke his nose. That elbow broke his nose. Definitely. And that's going to water your eyes. It might affect your equilibrium. He's down. He was getting back up, and he was going to just throw down, and it would have been great. We've seen some spectacular comebacks in UFC history. They don't happen too much anymore because the early stoppages happen a lot sooner now. But anyway, I was disappointed, and I'm sure the fans locally were too, because he's one of their boys. So let's move on to the next fight between Jimmy Crute and Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute had a really good first round and almost finished this fight in the first round. He had a 10-8 round and outlanded him 49-2. Had him in all sorts of trouble, but just could not finish him. Bellato was able to get onto the stool, get rested, and come back and win the last 2 rounds and create a draw in this fight. And you got to be impressed with him. I think Toffa could have had the comeback too. We could have seen 2 comebacks in a row. But Crute won this. He should have finished him when he couldn't. That was it. And maybe it gassed him to the point where he couldn't function as well in the second and third rounds and ended up having a draw.
I was very impressed with the will and determination of Bellato for him to come back and battle back the way that he did for the majority draw. And by the way, did you agree with the majority draw?
I did. Yeah,
I did. It's one of those rare ones, but I'm like, you got to give it to him.
That's what I had scored myself. Yeah, because I had the 10-8 first round for Crute, and then I had the 10-9 for Bellato last 2. So yeah, I was thinking, this should be a draw. One of the refs had a 29-27 for Crute, but the other 2 had a 28-28. So yeah, to me it was a legitimate draw and should have been that way. So
yeah. And I hope actually that the UFC runs this back, because that was a great fight.
That was a really great fight, definitely. Jake Matthews, the Celtic kid, made the home country very happy. Very big fan favorite. Dominated his fight against Francisco Prado. Won all 3 rounds, in my opinion, and got the unanimous 30-27 victory by all 3 judges.
Yeah. The one thing that really stuck out to me in this fight is just how much bigger Matthews was than Prado. I think Prado was his first time moving up into that weight division.
Right.
I don't know how much longer he wants to stay there, because you're just going to be dealing with guys that big.
Yeah, that was his first ever fight at that weight, and you can see a significant size advantage.
Yeah, significant, and obviously Matthews, using that significant size advantage, landed the heavier blows, had great combinations, had great movement. Definitely won the fight on his feet. He was very much the better striker on his feet.
You're right. Oh yeah. He called out Matthews called out Neil Magny. He said he's called him out a dozen times. I think that's an exaggeration, but that would be kind of great. If they make that fight, I'd sign up for that all day.
Yep, I think that's a great call out. I think that would be a fantastic fight, and hopefully they make it. Since he's called him out a dozen times, they should.
Yeah, they should. They should. Okay, let's talk about the featured prelim fight between Jack Farr Jenkins and Gabriel Santos. Tell me what your thoughts about this one.
First off, I thought that Santos was definitely dominated the grappling in this fight. Jenkins had his chance when he knocked down Santos in the first round with the head kick.
Yeah.
But as soon as he followed him to the mat, that's when Santos almost locked up the triangle choke. So I think Jenkins should have learned from that and said, maybe I should go to the ground with this guy. But unfortunately, that didn't work out well for him, because in the third, he got knocked down himself. Santos got the rear naked choke, got his back, done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like we talked about that fight a few fights ago when Crute had him in all sorts of trouble, couldn't get the finish. Jenkins definitely, after he got him with the head kick, knocked him down. Just was unable to get the finish that he needed. And Jenkins is famous for breaking 3 different guys' legs with his leg kicks, and he didn't employ that enough. He got the leg kick knocked down, but he should have been using that. His leg kicks are lethal, deadly, and I was surprised we didn't see more of that. His kicks are so incredible, but you're right. He got that front kick ended up taking him down, and then boom, he was all sort of trouble. Got the rear naked choke and forced to tap. Rich Mitchell called the fight. Charles Oliveira was in the corner of Santos, and seems like this is his next pet project. And I was impressed by Santos coming back after being in trouble in that first round.
Yeah, that was very impressive, the way that he battled back and played to his strengths.
Yeah.
Got him to the ground, did the grappling game.
That was his 5th submission win, back-to-back wins, and 12-3 in his career. Good things ahead for him. Okay, Tom Big Train Nolan. Nice decision victory by him. Unanimous decision, 3-fight win streak. He was he was really landing some very, very cracking shots, had really good distance control, used his long legs and reach advantage really well. I thought Slavaklaus Vladislav Borshev is a super tough fighter, and I really enjoy watching him fight because he just will never quit. But he was having a hard time with that distance. The long legs were really, really dominant for Big Train.
Yeah. He used his length very well in that fight. Distance management was excellent, and he used the full arsenal of his strikes. It was Borshev is always game, but I thought Nolan was just better on this particular night.
Yeah. I was impressed with this. They call her Wang Tong. I don't know why C ends up becoming a T, but I was very impressed with the Joker, Wang Tong. She really, looked phenomenal in this fight and was able to get the decision victory over Bruna Brazil. Brazil looked overmatched to me.
Yep.
And I think that the experience that Wang Tong has from her amateur days and training with some very, very, very incredible Chinese fighters. She just looked much better than Brazil did.
Oh yeah, dominant in the striking category. Obviously had the experience, has the better talent, all of that stuff, and learned from her previous outing where she got too ahead of herself, too full of herself, and lost that fight.
Right.
So this time she was more disciplined with her strikes, took the fight a little bit more seriously, didn't get too full of herself, and got the win.
She was just first to the punch every time, just every time. It just seemed like Brazil was kind of a deer and caught in the headlights and was unable to ever get off because every time she looked to throw, boom, she was being hit back. And so, yeah, it was one-sided there. Caio Borralho was in her corner, but no matter how much he yelled, he couldn't get her to do what he wanted. So she took the loss. Okay, we finally did see Alexander Topuria, Ilya's brother, in there against the Australian Colby Thickness. Topuria was great, but I would have loved to see him go for the finish a bit more. He was just measured, really just stayed within himself, very compact, very good style that's going to be hard to beat, but didn't put himself in any kind of position where he wasn't rushing for a finish, wasn't trying for a finish, and I really wish he would.
Yeah, because I think he had the opportunity to do that. I think he could have put away his opponent if he had gone for it. But I think with his first fight in the UFC, he just wanted to play it safe,
get the win,
and cement the win, which is what he did.
Yeah.
I thought he definitely got the win. I thought he got it pretty easily at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was unanimous, 30-27 on all three judges. He was really good with ground and pound. He was good, in the stand-up game. Just better all around. And he just threw a lot more punches, landed a lot more, and I liked his UFC debut. I hope he goes for the finish next time because that's what his brother does a lot. And I kind of thought it was maybe running in the family. We'd see another guy that came in like a buzzsaw, but not yet.
Yeah. Well, also too, he's the older brother, so you could maybe argue a little bit more responsible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. The fight of the night ended up being the fight on the early prelims. Did you see the early prelims?
No,
you did not. Okay. The fight between Zhu Rong and Cody Steele was one of the fights of the year. One of the fights that I've seen in a long, long time. That first round was absolutely incredible. Please watch it, Jason, and whoever's listening and watching. That was one of my favorite fights I've seen in a long, long time. They went toe to toe, big time. It's at the end, they were pointing into the center of the octagon like
Max Holloway,
Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, and they were just full on swinging. and it was great. Huge roar for the crowd. Rong was a quite a significant underdog at plus 270, but I was surprised at that. I thought that Vegas screwed up on some of these odds making. His experience, he's 24 years old and he's 26-6 at 24 years old. And Cody Steele came in at 7-0. I thought that experience factor would be really huge for the Chinese fighter. And I was right. He looked awesome. And was throwing caution to the wind, but was the better fighter on the night.
Which is awesome to see. Yeah. That he was willing to throw caution to the wind.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was willing to put on a show for the fans, which is what both of them did. Absolutely.
Yeah. He won 30-27 on all three judges. He won every round, but he wasn't playing it safe. He was just fighting to fight, and it was very entertaining, and took the O away from Cody Steele first time. The other Australian from Melbourne was on this card, Jonathan the Captain McAuliffe. Really impressive performance from him. I really liked what he brought. He's a little bit predictable in his striking, but his opponent just was not, Uset was just not defending it, so it just worked, and it worked. His foot is going to be sore for weeks. He landed so many kicks. It was incredible. It was unbelievable. He absolutely just beat up his side, kicked him in the head so many times, kicked him in the legs, kicked him in the body. Like, it was crazy. Really wild performance. Younger, faster, stronger, and got the victory there. And it was pretty great. The last fight, the first fight of the card was the last fight that we're going to talk about with a bonus. Quillan Salkeld from Perth, Australia, got the victory. Another early stoppage, and I was like, no! First fight of the night, and we're already getting one. This only lasted 19 seconds, and it was not fair. Jim Perdios was the ref, not a guy we see too often. This was cool because we don't see too many fighters from India, and Anshul Jubilee, the King of Lions, was in there. He was on the road to the UFC. We've seen him a couple times, but this was going to be great to see him perform. He got dropped, but immediately secured a leg, and the referee was shoving him off the leg as he's already called the fight. It looked bad when he dropped, but he was already onto clinch control, and they called it. I was pissed because I was really looking forward to seeing these guys battle.
That sucks. That sucks that the guy just didn't give him any chance to actually get his wits about him, because like you said, he grabbed the leg, so he obviously was still fighting. He was still in the fight.
He was still definitely there. It was the second fastest lightweight debut in UFC history, 19 seconds. Terrence McKinney had the fastest one, 7 seconds long. This was his third knockout for Salkeld, and he asked for the bonus, and he got it from the first fight of the night. So pretty good for him, getting an extra 50K, even though he should have fought a little bit longer. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We have a UFC fight night coming up this week. It's a little bit of an earlier card as well. 1 p.m. Pacific is the prelims, and 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern for the main card. Main event should be a hell of a great fight between Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier and RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. Look forward to this banger. Cannonier is the number 7 middleweight, 17-8 MMA record, only 10-8 in the UFC, but veteran, almost 8 years on the roster. Comes in, has been fighting a lot of killers over the past 8 years. He's 40 years old now and on a 2-fight losing streak, so this is very crucial. that he gets a good performance this one. His last fight was a loss to Caio Borralho, who we mentioned earlier, and Nasruddin Imavov, who we talked about as well. He last won against Marvin Vittori and Sean Strickland before that. So he's had fights against Derek Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum, Jack Hermanson, wins over those guys, and Anderson Silva. 7 performance bonuses. He did fight for the belt once against Israel Adesanya, the middleweight title belt, UFC 276, lost by decision in only July 2022. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him against Robocop. The Brazilian is 15-6. 16-5 MMA, 7-2 in the UFC. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. Had a really good performance against Christian Leroy Duncan last time out, but good matchmaking. Should be fun. These guys both throw it, and if they land, they usually get the knockout.
Yeah, they're both willing to bang. They're both going to come forward. I don't think this will go all 5 rounds.
No.
That's my prediction.
Good prediction. Good prediction. Yeah. We've got the co-main is 2 guys on opposite ends here. Calvin Kattar's on his way down. Yusuf Zalal's on his way up. So they made this matchmaking. Calvin's top 10 featherweight, number 10 ranked, 23-8 in MMA, only 7-6 in the UFC, and he's lost his last 3 and 4 of his last 5. Last time out was a loss to Aljamain Sterling, UFC 300. He lost to Arnold Allen and Josh Emmett in this run. His last win was against Giga Chikadze, January of 2022. Zalal is actually 3-0 in his UFC in his last run, on a 6-fight win streak overall. In his first UFC run, he was only 3-1, got cut, had to go back to the regional circuit, won 3 times there, got called back, and his last fight was a submission victory by arm triangle choke over Jack Shore back in November. And so, yeah, I guess it's try to see if Calvin is still a top 10 guy, or we're going to get Zalal to move into top 10 and Calvin's going to keep on his way down.
Exactly, right? Like it's the veteran against the young bull, and see where both of them are going to lie. I think this is going to be a great fight. I think because Calvin's got a lot to lose, because like he has one more loss than he's looking at. It's on his way out of the UFC, and Zalal is only looking up. So I think this is going to be a great fight.
I've never been a fan of Shabazian, so don't really care about that one. Filling fighting Dylan Buka. Ismail Bonfim, he is great to watch, and that should be a hell of a good fight. What else on this card?
Rodolfo Vieira.
Rodolfo Vieira was supposed to fight Jacob Malkoun. Now he's fighting Andre Petrosky. That could be fight of the night.
I'd love that fight, because both of those guys are built like fire hydrants, so should be a good one.
Let's hope Petrosky, coming in on short notice, is really in great shape, and can put on a good performance. I'm not excited about the future prelim, so let's not even bother talking about it. But Gabriel Bonfim,
that's the fight.
That's a fight of the night possibility in that one. He has a new opponent. He was supposed to fight Rinat Fakhretdinov, but now he faces Chaos.
That's a better fight.
And that's a fight I really look forward to.
Yeah, that's the best fight on the prelim card. Actually, to be honest with you, and to be very honest, that should be the headliner of the prelim.
Big time. Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought immediately. And they had to cancel one fight altogether. Jared Gordon and Kyle Fernandez has been canceled. But I'm surprised when they do stupid stuff like this. Why do they do that? Like this fight, that feature prelim, is not the one you want to headline that prelim. It should be definitely that Bonfim Chaos fight.
No, I think it should be, but I think at times they weigh it like, look at how long Angela Hill's been in the UFC. We want to pay her respects, and then that's why she gets it.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, it should be fun to watch. Really enjoy it as always. And it's kind of crazy. Our Sundays are going to be a lot less busy now with no NFL. The Super Bowl's done.
Yep.
Should be opening up some weekends.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier, an easier time for our weekends, a little bit freer, but at the same time, it's still sad. Still sad to see football go.
Yeah. Let's hope there's not early stoppages on this UFC card, and we get to see a great battle, some good comebacks, and there could have been two more early stoppages in this fight, and those guys that made those comebacks, they don't win. They could have jumped in at some point, and those other ones where the fighter had them all in all sorts of trouble in that first round. These are professional fighters that are in the highest promotion in the world, and you're not giving them an opportunity to fight back and make a comeback. It's very frustrating. It's gotta be maddening for them, not just frustrating for me.
Yeah, it's almost criminal, and I understand. You need more refs to go to your school of thought, which is when they stop moving, that's when you can call the fight. Okay.
I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. Yeah. I know. Jeez. I got the reputation now, I guess.
It's like, you got a couple unnecessary strikes there, but that last one, when he finally went limp, that's when I called the fight. Now he's good.
That's it. Yeah.
Done.
Okay, man. Well, that's it for me. I had a great podcast as usual with you. That was a lot of fun. We covered everything, and off to your evening, off to your bunwich, and the rest of your night. Hope you enjoy some of the basketball. I'm gonna watch some of the game I recorded earlier. Should be really fun to see, especially the Luka debut.
Yeah. I think I have the Lakers game recorded, so I'm gonna try to watch some of that before I go to bed. So yeah.
Okay, buddy. All right, man. Thanks again. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, talk later. Okay.
All right. Bye for now. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much. As always, we appreciate you sticking in and hanging into the bitter end. We love it. You are such dedicated fans. It's been really, really fun to do this for you week after week. And I want to thank our partners and sponsors, Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to their website and they will be able to help you do what Jason and I did. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company and industry leader in technology, performance, and value. The V350 stick is a must-have for anyone that plays hockey in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, they design West Coast really beautiful things for your home, and you can get them into your home. They can spruce it up and make it look awesome. And Forever Living, last but not least, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. They really do a great job with incredible products, and you can get some discounted ones on our website if you go there. So CompleteSportsMedia.com. Love you guys lots. We will talk soon. Thanks again for everything, and we will be back at you next week. Take care and bye for now.